Folks, you hear the news. Once again, Putin and the Russians are trying to engage in our elections and decide who the president's going to be. And this time I'm the object of their attention. Because Putin knows if I am president of the United States, his days of tyranny and trying to intimidate the United States and those in Eastern Europe are over. I'm going to stand up to him. He's a bully.
This gentleman right here. My friend, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good.
What are you going to sign on that finish line?
What do you think I'm going to sign? I'm going to sign Joe Biden.
That's the risk we have here when we broadcast live from the track.
I am dead.
Here. I love the American flag shirt. What are you going to sign on the checkered line?
I just did. Would you like to see what I wrote?
Well, just tell me. Is it clean?
It's not clean.
Joe Biden.
All right, guys. So yeah, that is NASCAR's worst nightmare because they're trying to distance themselves from politics, guys. After years of basically embracing politics in their sport, they're trying to distance themselves from politics now. But the NASCAR fans, the hardcore conservatives there, they ain't having it, okay? And it looked like to me that Fox reporter kind of was getting the picture, right? That these fans are fed up with Joe Biden. So much so that it seems like probably any fan that he asked out there probably would have gave a similar answer, okay? I bet the mainstream liberal media is going to say that those people are insurrectionists, right? Simply because they use the F word, okay? As if, they weren't saying F Trump, for the last 4 years that Trump was in office. But, hey, it is what it is, okay? I just find it hilarious that it's getting to the point now where people just bypassing Let's Go Brandon, okay? Because people gonna say that's vulgar, okay? Anyways, even though it's not. So, if Let's Go Brandon is off limits, people are getting kicked off planes for Let's Go Brandon, you might as well just keep it uncensored. Just go ahead and say F Joe Biden, right? Since you don't get a pass at Let's Go Brandon, okay? We try to keep it PG. But it won't enough for the left, okay? So it is what it is. It is what it is. But here's the thing. I got a feeling that a lot of these fans, okay, who are pissed off with Joe Biden for various reasons. Some of the reasons being, we got a border crisis, okay? We got a crime problem, okay? We have a supply chain issue, and we got inflation. Now, I think probably the biggest issue is the economy and inflation. Rising prices, okay? People getting hit in the pocketbook hard, okay? We have record-setting inflation all across the board. And it's particularly bad when it comes to energy, right? Namely, gas prices. That is hurting every single American. And as this is happening, Sleepy Joe seems to be more concerned about what's going on in Ukraine and Russia than he is about what's going on in America. Okay, so much so that he's actually willing to hurt the American people even more in the pocketbooks behind trying to punish Vladimir Putin for basically taking a couple territories in Ukraine that basically already belong to Russia, right? In a nutshell, okay? And the mainstream liberal media has been warning us for a little bit that, hey, you guys need to be prepared, right? The American people, you need to be prepared, okay, for gas prices to go up even more because we gotta punish Vladimir Putin.
But also, the thing that you hear President Biden saying is Americans need to be prepared for if this comes to our shores, and it comes to our shores in the effect of higher gas prices. When we already are seeing an 8-year high, we're already seeing inflation at 40-year highs. So the president is also trying to tell Americans, if we have to get involved here, the cost of freedom may be in your wallets at the gas tank.
All right, guys, so there you have it, right? That is the mainstream liberal media telling Americans, hey, guys, listen, that guy Vladimir Putin is so bad, and what's going on in Ukraine is so bad that, hey, it is worth it that gas prices are going to go up. We just got to do what we got to do, okay? And you need to be prepared for what's going to happen, okay? As basically Joe Biden today has announced some new sanctions in response to Putin, basically giving the go-ahead and invade these two territories in Ukraine that basically belong to Russia. I just want people to understand that. But he basically comes out in response and says that, yeah, he is announcing these sanctions. And, yeah, there's going to be a cost, a.k.a. Energy costs are going to go up. Take a look.
Yesterday, Vladimir Putin recognized two regions of Ukraine as independent states. And he bizarrely asserted that these regions are no longer part of Ukraine and their sovereign territory. To put it simply, Russia just announced that it is carving out a big chunk of Ukraine. Last night, Putin authorized Russian forces to deploy into these regions. Today, he asserted that these regions are actually extend deeper than the 2 areas he recognized, claiming large areas currently under the jurisdiction of the Ukraine government. He's setting up a rationale to take more territory by force, in my view. And if we listened to his speech last night, and many of you did, I know, he's setting up a rationale to go much further. This is the beginning of a Russian invasion of Ukraine, as he indicated and asked permission to be able to do from his Duma. So let's begin to, I'm going to begin to impose sanctions in response far beyond the steps we and our allies and partners implemented in 2014. And if Russia goes further with this invasion, we stand prepared to go further as with sanctions. Defending freedom will have cost for us as well, and here at home. We need to be honest about that. But as we do this, I'm going to take robust action to make sure the pain of our sanctions is targeted at the Russian economy, not ours.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, guys, Biden has announced some new sanctions. Now, these sanctions will target the Russian bank, VEB, and Russian sovereign debt, right? And the point is to cut off Russia from Western financing, and the sanctions are all also meant to punish Russian elites and rich people in Russia in order to pressure them to basically make Putin back off. Okay. Now, again, the problem here is that Russia is one of the world's largest energy suppliers. Okay. Which means that if Russia decides to issue their own sanctions, which they say, hey, you know what, we're going to cut off our energy exports, the price of oil could skyrocket, right? With some analysts predicting it could hit $125 per barrel, okay? Which, I mean, could you guys imagine even higher gas prices than there is today? Okay, that's basically what the Biden administration is signing up for with these sanctions on Russia, and if they continue to go further with this stuff. Okay, now, here's the thing, right? Are the sanctions right or wrong? Are they worth it? In my opinion, I really don't know, okay? Because, again, it is something to be said about, okay, is it worth punishing Russia, right, over Ukraine and also hurting the American people at a time during a historic inflation? I'm not necessarily sure if now's the time to do it. Now, you know, if this was during a time when we weren't experiencing historic inflation and a global supply chain crisis, I'd be like, hey, you know what? I can't really argue with it too much, okay? Because at the end of the day, Russia's still the enemy, okay? And I'm not really trying to go to war with them over Ukraine. Now, I'm convinced, okay, unlike some people that are out here pushing World War III conspiracies, right, and fear-mongering, there's not going to be a direct war between the United States and Russia, okay? Even though Biden says he's moving some troops further into Eastern Europe in response, right? He claims it's defensive. I'm confident that Biden ain't about that life and Putin ain't about that life, okay? But at the same time, you know, hey, who knows how far Putin can go with this, okay? Now, I think that he's going to take these 2 territories that basically already belong to Russia, okay? As the pro-Russian separatists have basically already, taken the territory and said, hey, we want to be with Russia. And Putin's just formalizing, right? That's basically what's happening. Now, the question is, how much further will he go? Now, the Biden administration is saying Putin could go so far as to maybe even attack the capital of Ukraine. Now, here's the thing. That is the worst case scenario, as at that point, that's basically Putin saying, hey, we're going to take back all of Ukraine, which is basically what he's been promising for a long time now, because he sees Ukraine as a part of Mother Russia, right? And, you know, hey, he wants to restore the Soviet Union back to his old glory, right? He's been very, very, very clear about that. But again, the question is, how much should American people suffer behind trying to protect Ukraine? Is it really worth it? Now, I know, again, we're not going to war with Russia, okay, because I truly do not believe that 2 nuclear nations are going to get in direct war with each other. However, that doesn't mean that there can't be a proxy war, as we, you know, have shown that we're more than willing to fight proxy wars with Russia, okay? So there's a whole lot that can unfold here. And the point of this video is just to warn you guys that with Biden's increased sanctions, don't be surprised if prices, particularly for energy, continue to rise even higher, okay? Now, with that being said, I do want to say this, okay? I don't think this will be happening under Trump, right? For as much as the mainstream media tried to say that Trump is a puppet of Putin, Trump actually sanctioned Russia pretty heavily, okay? He did. Putin didn't try this under Trump, right? He didn't try this under Trump. And one of the reasons why is because I think that real recognize real. And Putin knows that Trump's kind of crazy, right? And I'm not saying that in a bad way. That's actually a good thing, right? If your president, right, the leader of the free world, the leader of one of the strongest armies of the world is a little crazy and the enemies think that, then that deters them from taking any type of actions that may set that person off. Okay, that's basically the madman theory, right? Which I do subscribe to a certain extent, right? So again, my argument here is that I don't think that this would be happening under Trump. Okay, I think that Putin clearly sees Biden as a weakling and took the opportunity once Trump was out of office, basically immediately, to continue his acquisition of Ukraine, right? Which he did under Obama with Crimea. And this is despite Biden doing all that tough talk, right? Before he got in office about what he's going to do to Putin, okay? Again, it just shows you who is the alpha dogs in this world, right? Who Putin actually respects and who he doesn't respect. It was very clear that, you know, despite what the mainstream media was saying about Trump being a puppet and he kissing up to Putin, Putin himself obviously thought that Trump was a real one, right? That he wasn't one to be played with, you know, evidenced by the fact that, you know, Trump, hey, he clapped some folks, okay, like Soleimani, right? When Iran was doing all that funny business in Iraq with the U.S. embassy, right? Trump sent a clear message that, hey, if you try me, you'll get clapped and we'll throw up the set, right? I'm just saying. I see what is happening here. The overall takeaway is that this is confirmation that the president of the United States is simply not respected on the world stage by our enemies. It is very, very clear that's what's going on here. And this is also happening as China is basically getting closer with Taiwan as well, too, right? They're basically preparing to invade Taiwan, okay? Allegedly, right? So all this is happening in the Biden administration. Again, for the guy that talked the toughest before he came into office, it is obvious that our enemies see him as a weakling, right? It is really a shame. It really is a shame. So again, this is the cost of elections, guys. Gas prices and embarrassment on the world stage. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.